It's recording.
And it
Yeah.
started. Yeah. Mm.
So what did you just realize?
Technically, that we have nothing to talk about on our first technical podcast slash practice run.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I thought it was. I thought it was a practice run. So I didn't prep anything.
Neither did I.
Um, I mean, it's a new year though, so like we could just talk about the fact that it's a new year.
Yeah. Technically, if you're on West Coast time, this would be the first day of January, but we're on Eastern Coast, so technically we're a little late to this game. So it's the second.
Yeah, yeah, it really is though. I mean, it's there's
So
just a little bit more time before yesterday is done all around the world. So,
technically, if we make this test slash our first podcast, if we do it long enough, we could do it for 2 days straight.
I don't think I want to do this for 2 days straight.
Only 3 hours, basically.
I don't think 2 days straight means what you think it means.
No, maybe not.
So what did you do?
I've really. So Seth, our friend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also I realized that we're gonna have to explain everything because I can't just be like Seth. I would have
Yeah,
to be
oddly
like,
enough, they don't all know us.
oh, exactly. We would have to be like a mutual friend named Seth, and then we would have to go into detail about him, and then our past experiences. But we could just cut it short too. There's a mutual friend of ours called Seth, who's very, how do you say, for lack of better words, he is the lack of a better words.
I couldn't have said that better myself.
So he brought his roommate with him,
Oh.
who they just got back on deployment. His roommate's name's Patrick.
Oh, yeah. I remember
Uh,
that guy.
Not a bad guy. He's actually a
Yeah,
cool
I
guy.
think so.
And my fiance, a beautiful girl named Kelsey. You see, we have to.
Are you just selling
They don't
her
know
in
who Kelsey
case
is.
she listens to this?
Maybe, but also we have to elaborate on all our friends and family members because supposedly why I don't know why people don't know our whole life story
You
yet.
you would think everybody would know us by now.
Exactly. So my fiance Kelsey had to sadly work on the 31st at the great and best restaurant ever called the Cheesecake Factory.
Hmm.
It's actually really bad and grimy.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds more like it.
And so Seth, Patrick, and I got plastered at Cheesecake Factory while Kelsey was our waitress. And if you want to know how affordable it is to get drunk at Cheesecake Factory, it's not at all.
You know, I was just gonna say, your definition of affordable might be a little more different than mine.
No, my affordable is like going to a rundown bar and paying like $5 to $6 a drink, maybe.
Yeah.
And we try to get drunk as quick as we can for as cheap as we can. So that was just Long Island iced teas, and it was about $11 each, and we drank about 12 of
Jeez.
them. So getting drunk on a budget. Don't go to Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah. I
Kelsey's like Kelsey's like it's the first time I've ever seen somebody just straight out just get drunk at Cheesecake Factory.
I'm surprised. I feel like more people would choose the Cheesecake Factory for just that.
I feel like if you had the money for just that, there are way better places to do it.
I mean, I do have to admit, it was just recently that I discovered that Cheesecake Factory doesn't just serve cheesecake.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Lauren took me there. My girlfriend, my beautiful girlfriend. and
Mhm.
she was like, "Hey, let's go," and I was like, "All right, sure." Um, and I'm lactose intolerant, as you know, and I was like, "Yeah, whatever. I'll eat cheesecake." Um, and I go there, and she's like, "No, there's other things," and I was like, "Then cheesecake at a factory that makes cheesecake?" And she's like, "Yeah, there's like soup, and there's like steak, and there's like sushi."
Giant
And I was like,
burritos.
"What?" Yeah. And it just blew my mind because I was thinking, okay, so they made all of these cheesecakes that look like different things.
Now, what I was thinking the first time I ever heard of Cheesecake Factory was an Asian sweatshop full of people making just cheesecake.
I mean, that's actually really
It
close
was
to what I
literally
thought too.
just a factory of people making cheesecake and like horrible labor unions there, and like their 15-minute breaks were just cheesecake.
Wait, so like people go over there and they visit just to like watch these people labor?
Yeah, and then you could buy one of their cheesecakes.
Oh, that's nice. Supporting, the
Yeah,
small people, right?
yeah,
That,
that's what I
by
thought
the
it
way,
was.
that's not like a racial slur. I didn't mean to like say that they were small people, like just small people.
Well, technically, most Asian people
Yeah,
are small,
statistically.
so it's not racist. It's statistically factual.
We just have to be a little careful in our PC world, right? No?
No, just we just need to stick statistic. Oh my god, that reminds me of today. So we're at a bar today, and we're sitting out on the patio, and it was me, Seth, and Patrick, and my dog Addie was there, and we're sitting out on the patio just drinking, waiting for the Kelsey to come hang out with us, and this girl who's looks like a guy, has her hair cut and everything. She so obviously like a transsexual or something like that. But she comes to me and she goes, "Oh, look at the puppy!" And I'm like, "Yeah," and like because people are coming to play with it left and right, and she goes, "Oh, is it a?" She goes, "Oh, who's a good boy?" And she goes, "Oh wait, is it a girl?" And I had to fight myself so hard, just be like, "Actually, she's gender fluid."
Did you just assume my dog's gender?
I had to fight myself so hard to say that. I was just like, let me be a good human. Let me be a good human.
Yeah, I think you made the best move there.
It was very hard. I just wanted to be an asshole for a little bit.
I mean, you're so good
But
at
I'm
it,
an
though.
asshole yeah, it's a new year, so there's plenty of time for me to be an asshole. I didn't need to get all of it under the first day of the new year.
So you have like a yearly allotment?
Uh, I'd say interest rates make it go higher every year.
Oh, I didn't know that, what are we calling this? Assholism? Um, it, I didn't know it had interest rates.
Yeah, whenever the Fed raises the interest rates for the Federal Reserve, my assholism goes up as well.
Oh. Now, is this like a direct, like, system? So, like, because of
Hmm.
it? Or is it just like, this is what happens when that happens? Like a correlation sort of thing?
It correlates to different markets. It's not set up to me. It's first started with the Asian market because
All that
I
cheesecake?
realize, yep, exactly. And all that cheesecake going into your market makes you an asshole because you're just going to be sitting on the toilet all day.
It makes me wish that I didn't have one.
Also, for people listening terrestrially, Dane is a person who is known he's lactose intolerant for the past 15 years, and every time he sees a milk product, will eat it because he is a
I
masochist.
I just like cheese, okay? Cheese and
No,
like
he likes the
cream
pain.
based pastas and sauces and like ah, it's
And
so
pain.
good. The pain you know, it's worth it. it is worth it.
I like seeing you suffer, so yes, it's worth it.
Thanks. Good friendship, that is.
I think so. Good long friendship. So Seth today was asking me about who's my best man for my upcoming wedding, and I told him, "Oh, it's my brother," and he's like, "Oh, why did you pick your brother?" I'm like, basically, so I didn't have to pick any of my best friends, but also because I was his best man. And then a couple hours later, we're talking about how Will, also another best friend and mutual friend of me and Dane's, uh, awesome guy. His name is Will slash the Buck, and I told him how Will was gonna actually give me a Klingon bachelor party, and Seth goes, uh, "Wait, Will is? I thought your brother is your best man. Isn't that his job?" And I go, "Yeah, a lot of my groomsmen are gonna take jobs for the best man." And he's like what? And I was about to say like, oh, Dane's giving him doing the best man speech and I'm doing
Yeah.
his, but then I was like, you know what? Let's
Just let
let
it be a
Dane
surprise.
let Dane relay that message to Seth one day because I don't want to get into a fight with Seth today. But like, no, I'm doing the best man speech. I'm like, no, you're not. But whatever.
It's like, see about that.
He goes to me. He's like, I'm surprised Zach isn't your best man. Also, a mutual friend of me and Dane's.
They're all just mutual friends.
Yeah. And he goes, yeah, he's an option. He's like, yeah, it's either Zach or Will. I'm like, or Dane. And like Seth is very protective of Dane. So for other people listening, he's very protective of Dane. So he doesn't like thinking anybody else could be Dane's best friend except him. Say it's not true, Dane. Say it's not.
I can't. Like, I'm pretty sure this isn't really even showing up in the microphone because I'm so far away.
Yeah, this is why we need to start recording our video because he's dying on the floor right now. So I couldn't tell Seth that you were probably the main option of my best man and I was yours.
Yeah.
Some things need to be kept secret. It's like we're his parents and he's our child. We just need to keep little secrets from him.
Wait, but how secret is this really gonna be if, say, this actually does end up being published?
Uh,
Uh.
Darn.
And now I'm
Well, we
thinking
don't.
this whole podcast was a plan for you.
No. Technically, we don't need to tell our friends that we're doing this podcast until maybe it's really big.
Oh
So
yeah,
we have
just
2
after like a
followers.
few. I mean, my little brother wants to know like off the bat.
Yeah. Like Kelsey was like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, me and Dana are gonna go try to do the thing." She's like, "The podcast," and she's like, "That's cool." I'm like, "Thank you for supporting me."
Yeah.
Dude, I can't wait to move into the new house. So, uh, I don't know if you knew the situation of the house for other people. I am in settlement to buy a house that's closing on January 19th. And 3 days ago, on December 30th, our appraisal for the house that we offered, like, let's say 300 and some $1,000 for, we got it back for $20,000 less than what we offered. And since I'm a veteran, I use a VA loan. The bank is only going to give me what I appraised it for. So I was like sweating bullets. I don't know if they're going to do this. But supposedly the listing agent actually marketed the house in the wrong neighborhood. So it was their fuck up.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so their listing agent marketed their house in a different neighborhood. So when we look at the comparisons for the house to make an
Oh.
offer, their house was supposedly worth a lot more than it actually was.
Oh shit, yeah.
So we were like, well, no. And then I didn't feel bad about putting my offer down. So I'm saving $20,000 on the house from the appraisal because they got caught doing that. So
That's good.
yeah, that makes me feel a lot better because I'm saving a lot of money on that. But the cool thing about it, it's the basement I'm getting, and I'm gonna set up the basement to be a cool recording studio.
I thought Will was moving in down there.
He definitely has that basement as his room, but I don't think he would mind me recording in his room.
That just sounded sort of porno-y.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time I ever recorded something in his room.
Oh boy.
We used to be roommates.
Oh yes. So he is always eager to say.
Ugh. Trying to have Skype sex with an ex girlfriend of mine when he was in like 5 feet away from us. Funnest experience ever.
How often do you ask him to join?
Oh, every other time.
All right, good.
Not
Good
by
luck.
my request. My girlfriend's request.
Oh,
Ex girlfriend.
I mean, I would probably ask him to join too.
I would. I did. Maybe once or twice.
Will's an attractive man.
What did you do for New Year's?
Oh, yeah, shit, it's New Year's. Um, you think that I would have remembered after, like, only 16 minutes of talking to you, 17 minutes now. But,
17
um,
minutes now.
yeah, yeah. Um, but, I pretty much went to my girlfriend's house and just hung out with her. Started the New Year's off right. Chilling with her. We ate pizza. Um, just drilling in on that whole lactose intolerance, don't give a damn thing. And sorry, to anybody who happens to be listening, Kelsey just like opened the door, her eyes got wide, and she like backed away over on John's end. Like
Yeah.
she just walked into something that she didn't like
She didn't
belong
realize
in.
how technically advanced this podcast is going to be.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the words I would use.
Ugh. I'm so happy we're not doing video right now. I'm not even wearing pants. I can't.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Neither am I.
I don't even know when we start doing video. I don't even know if I'm gonna wear pants anyway.
There is a
50-50
famous
chance.
person that I cannot remember the name of. Nice slip in, by the way. Um, who made it known that since cameras only capture the top half of your body, there's no point in wearing anything on the bottom half. So just be comfortable. Wear swimming trunks, wear underwear, wear nothing. It is up to you.
I agree completely.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, I'm wearing pajama pants are always a good option because I like pajama pants. They're usually nicer than my skin.
Bro, pajama pants are always a good option whether you're inside or outside of your house.
Yeah.
They're stylish.
I went to breakfast this morning in my pajamas at IHOP, and everybody else was wearing clothes, and I was like the only person in there with pajamas. And I realized I'm the person I wanted to be when I grow up.
Right? Like,
I'm like, I saw everybody else. I was just like, you guys are having breakfast on a Sunday, the day after New Year's. If you're not either hungover, you're wearing clothes for no reason. You should be in pajamas.
now, let's get down to nitty gritty here. Let's talk about that for a moment. The idea that there's this social construct that when you go certain places, you need to wear certain things. Like, for instance, if you go to a quote-unquote high-class restaurant and you pay more money at that restaurant, you're expected to wear nicer clothes.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm gonna pay $200 for a meal, I should wear whatever the fuck I want.
Right? Like, I understand no shirt, no service kind of thing because that might be a hygiene kind of thing. You can argue that. But to argue the idea that, like, you're not dressed well enough to be seen in our restaurant, we have to turn you away. If I can drop, like, $500 on a meal right now,
Well, you can't.
what does
but
it matter? Well, obviously, I'm currently like negative money. I am making negative
and
money
neither
as we speak.
I couldn't drop $500 on a meal right now. I
But
would cry.
it's the social bit that I'm trying to jab at here. Like hypothetically, if
Maybe
you
the
could,
waiter.
why would you be turned away?
I don't think you should be. But when we do open our restaurant, which we will, there won't be a dress code.
PD&J's, you heard it here.
Yeah, PD&J's. For people who didn't understand that, it's Peter, Danes, and John's PD&J. And if you don't know who Peter is, well, you don't need to know who Peter is because he's technically me and Dane.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was another thing I want to ask about. Are we allowed to curse?
I mean, we kind of already have, haven't we?
Well, I know, and I'm a salty sailor, and I don't know if we're allowed to, or if we just need to watch it, or if there's like you're only allowed 2 F-bombs in the movie to get that PG-13 rating.
What I would say is we should probably attempt to make it pretty limited in that area.
PG-13, got you.
Just to make sure that we're let into as many venues as possible, right?
I agree.
For instance, I'm not entirely sure what Google Play is looking at or for. By the way, if Google Play, you are hearing this right now, check us out. We like Google. Google, you should like us.
And if you can get me a free Pixel phone, that would be cool.
Smooth.
I'm just saying. I'll advertise for free Google stuff on each podcast if they get me a free Pixel phone.
Right? Like if we go work with Feral Audio, for instance, all we have to do is talk about MeUndies for a while.
I'll do it.
Which, by the way, MeUndies are like a cradle for your crotch. They're soft. They're gentle.
I'm not above pouring myself out for money for our podcast or anything else.
And pretty much every podcast that I've listened to and all the people that I've been able to meet in that kind of area agree. Like, what does it matter? They're paying for you to do what you love. So if you'll pay for us to do what we love, take my body.
Yes. And if you want to take my body after I die, I don't mind that either.
Instead of donating it to science, you're donating it to, like, sponsors.
Capitalism.
Amen to that.
I could just see that now. I can put out maybe like a posting on Craigslist. We'll sell my body when I die of natural causes. We'll do an autopsy if suspected not natural causes. You don't get the body.
You know, I don't know how I'd really feel. I'm not. So I don't expect to die anytime soon, right? And I kind of hope that Craigslist is not a thing anymore when I do die. Like, I want to sell my body on a more prestigious website, not on a Craigslist, not on some, like...
So eBay.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
or
by
Amazon.
the time I die, I expect Amazon specifically to be somewhere bigger. I want my drone. I want my body to be delivered by drone to whoever orders it.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, is there like a time limit that they get your body? Like, is it the moment you die, or are you gonna like let your family have some mourning with your body?
Well, I guess it depends on how much money they are willing to pay for this contract, right?
That's true. That's definitely true.
Like, if you need a still warm body, I'll put a transmitter in my brain or whatever and just like let it
I
go
was
off when I
hoping
die.
somewhere else.
Uh,
I would have helped you
uh,
to that one. Uh,
no, surely I have no doubt that anybody who's listening to this might be a little confused about our orientations. Um,
oh, I'm very straight, but I'd fuck Dane if I had to. Like,
it's a
like
very
gun
mutual
pointed,
situation.
like gun pointed in my head. Yeah, I'd fuck Dane.
Yeah, like if a gun was pointed at his head, I'd fuck him too.
You
Like
see,
whatever.
that's called love. There,
It is. It is.
it's guy love between two guys.
Brotherhood, if you will.
It's like chivalry.
You know, I actually have the Code of Chivalry posted on my wall, and I know for a fact that if I go over there, I'm not going to see anything about having sex with another man.
I guarantee you, if you read out the rules right now, which I don't think you should, I can read into one of the rules where it would say that you should do something for your fellow man that you don't want to do for yourself, which I could define as having sex with me if a gun was pointing to my head.
Well, as a gist, for those of you curious, it's more or less um, pledge allegiance to um, your king, your country, and your god, and serve your woman, your king, your country, and then your god. Um, and that is pretty much the repetitious thing in there. Now, if one of those are saying, you know what you should do, have sex with another man, then I suppose, yeah, there you are.
Yeah, if your woman has a gun to my head and says you should have sex with me, or your king, or your country, or God, either one, it's gonna
I
happen.
mean, if my woman has a gun pointed to your head, I need to have a conversation with her.
Yeah, all I would say before she pulled the trigger, I'd have been like, told you she was crazy.
Wait, but you said that about the last one,
I
not
say
this
that
one.
about all. I'm pretty sure I said that about all of them.
I don't think you've said that about this one yet.
Uh, I don't. I haven't seen her go full crazy yet.
Yet.
I haven't had much one-on-one time with her because me being in the military and 1,000 miles away.
Yeah, that tends to put a small damper on it.
Yeah. Also, if you guys are listening, Dane is in Miami, Florida, and I am in Columbia, Maryland. And so we're jerry rigging this podcast. If you think it's good, let us know. If it's not,
Let
suck
us
it up,
know.
bitch.
No,
Oh, you say, I'm sorry. Let us know because this is a consumer based product and
yeah.
you are a consumer and this is our product.
This is totally not just for us.
We definitely don't expect this to work ever.
I mean, I'm honestly expecting like weekly installments of this, and for me to look at like, oh, who's listening? Me, John, and my brother.
You know what? I have my cousin Mark, who is into advertising. If we
Mm-hmm.
really want to put some money backing it, we can definitely put advertising to this. But I feel like until we actually have it down packed, there's no point in advertising.
Yeah, we really need to make like a formula for this. Like on one side, it's cool to just have like a talking thing back and forth, but on the other end, we should definitely have some sort of agenda, some sort of like points to go across.
Oh, maybe we could either do something like a story arc or a week to week category of what we talk about.
Hmm. Tell me more about the story arc that you're thinking.
Well, we have our week to week show, and then but a part of that show is like a story that we story arc like the
A
hold on,
story that we story arc like.
the adventures of Ness.
Hmm. Oh, dude. But then it could totally like take off like the Night Vale thing, right?
Exactly.
Dude. Hmm. 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 I wonder. All right. All right. All right. So
But
like, there's a thing that I listen to, um, and it's called oh, what is it called? This might as well be a shout out to it. Sleep with me.
oh,
Sleep
I thought
with me.
I've never heard of that. I thought you were talking about what's that one? It's is it Night Bell? The one I
There's one
showed you?
called Night Vale
Oh,
that
I
you showed
love.
me.
Yeah, I thought I showed you it.
No, I stumbled upon it early on in its formation.
Yeah, it looked like the one where the dog park that dogs aren't allowed. Yeah,
Exactly.
okay. That's
It's
I love that.
brilliant.
It's really good. I would love to do something with that, but I don't, I don't know if we have the the writing potential.
I mean, we might. I So the two things that popped into my head was the first thing is that I brought up Sleep with Me because he does something interesting in that show. I forget his name right now, but basically, um, every week is a new show, and every week is a cycle of three, which is that the first one is a heavily scripted, let's talk about this thing. The second one is a semi-scripted, oh, sorry, I got that backwards. I'm very sorry. The first one is unscripted, let's talk about this thing. So maybe it's an experience that he had last week, or maybe it's some issue that's in the news that he saw. The second one is somewhat scripted, somewhat not. So it's like Nuns in Space and then some other stuff. Where the Nuns
Mm.
in Space is like this story that he writes about nuns in space. And then the other half is just a bunch of stuff talking about what he's doing that day and whatever, like super boring. Because it's trying to get you to go to sleep. And the third one is an analysis of, I believe, a Argentinian direct ripoff of what is it? Breaking Bad, and it's basically called it's a shot for shot ripoff of the show, where everything has like cheesy fake versions of the name. So instead of Walter White, it's Mr. Weiss, and the name of the show is the cancer that he had. But like
Uh,
literally, if you play the actual like Breaking Bad show and this show next to each other, the
if
frames are like perfect. They walk in the exact angle. They turn. They look. They mimic each other perfectly. The only difference is that it's in a different language, and all the like trademark obvious things that they say are
uh-huh.
like said completely differently. Um,
So this guy has a podcast, which the main purpose for this podcast is to fall asleep.
yes, it's made for insomniacs, basically.
So it's either he realized he's so boring that every time he talks to people, he just makes them fall asleep, and that he just found his niche. He's like, you know what? If I'm so boring and make people fall asleep, that's what my podcast is. Help you fall asleep. Or this guy's a genius. Or this guy's just like, hey, I'm gonna help people fall asleep.
See,
Just
I
listen to
think
my.
it's the latter, because he himself suffers from insomnia. So he's like,
Uh-huh.
hey, you know what really helps when you're laying in bed to like literally not be thinking about anything. So what you can do is listen to me in my monotone voice talk about all this random stuff, or maybe go into the story that doesn't really matter or go anywhere. It's not exciting. It's not an exciting story. The story just sort of dwindles about. You're not invested in it, and so you sort of forget that you're trying to fall asleep, and you fall asleep. And it's worked for me numerous times. Sometimes I sit there like, if it's before a test or before some sort of like meeting I have to go to, and I can't sleep because I'm nervous, or maybe I'm just thinking about all the ways that it could go wrong. I listen to it, and it knocks me out pretty fast.
Sounds interesting.
But I bring that up because, like, we could do something kind of similar to that. Just sort of condense it into 3 a week or 2 a week kind of thing.
That's definitely possible.
Yeah.
I also was just thinking about we could have a section where we just start Googling current events and we could just talk about that.
Yeah, like, we can go on the Reddit news stream and just, like, see the first headlines and stuff and be like, hey, so, how about all those people in Istanbul that were in that shooting?
No, what I was talking more about, like, hey, did you hear that the new Star Trek Discovery show is actually 10 years prior to Star Trek Original? And so what I'm thinking, that's going to actually be on the Klingon Wars, but that's just me.
You know, I'm really doubting that, but if they did, that would be one of the coolest things they could decide to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all. I say we need to definitely get our geek on.
I agree. I mean, how could we not, though? It's you and me. Me
our
and
geek
you.
is
Us together.
Also being so defensive. So I was very nice to Seth. I took him to go see Rogue One. He didn't like it that much.
What?
Yeah, he didn't like it that much. He called it.
Oh, wait. I'm gonna cut you off now because
Cut.
I told you, because you and I saw it together for the first time. You came down to Miami, and we watched
just to watch
it
that movie.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I sat on it because I remember after the movie I was full of emotions, and I was really like thrown back by the CGI Tarkin and such, and I had said I need to sit on it.
Yes, you did. Such. I want to hear this opinion.
And now I am ready to speak, and what I have to say is that it is honestly, by far, probably the best Star Wars movie to date.
Exactly. Exactimo, senor. Exactimo.
In that, yes, the original Star Wars movies were made, and they pushed the idea of what we could do in movies, and it was literally a soap opera in space, because that's what it was designed for. But, unfortunately, because it was designed that way, there were certain rules that soap operas have to follow that made it kind of limited, honestly. While the universe itself could take off and do many things, the characters and the scenes that had to be portrayed, the interactions, could not take off. They had to follow the pattern, the ultimate conclusion, the betrayal, the familial distress. And now we get to this new point in cinematics and society, and we find the chance to go into that universe that got to take off and make a movie of it. And so Rogue One takes place in that pre-made story in the EU. That was more an explanation for why things happened in the first movies, instead of like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if this could have happened? It quickly became, this totally happened and this is why.
Exactly.
And
there's two parts.
This movie is perfect at that.
Yeah. There's two things I want to say about that. First part, going into the CGI, because I know you were I know you had emotions about it. Kelsey, did it? It was a week after until she realized Tarkin was a CGI character. When I
No.
brought when I brought it up to her at dinner because we were talking about how I was gonna go see Rogue One with Seth, I
Mm-hmm.
told her, yeah, and we were talking about how Tarkin was Rogue One, was CGI, and she's like, "What are you talking about?" Because she knew Carrie Fisher's part was CGI.
Oh, I just dropped my microphone. I
Yeah.
just saw the largest like. I
So
guess
she knew.
I'm pausing that one out.
Yeah, she knew Carrie Fisher's part was CGI, and I told her, "You know that wasn't the only CGI character." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "The main character Tarkin was completely like CGI," and she's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "That guy died 20 years ago." And I showed her the picture, and she was like, "Wow, I didn't even know that." I was like, "Yeah." So I think the fact that somebody who Kelsey, who isn't a big fan of Star Wars, she likes seeing the films, didn't even
Mm-hmm.
realize that was not even a real person. That speaks wonders to the technology. And two, Seth didn't like it because he wanted he likes Star Wars movies about the main characters, Jedi's and Sith kind of thing, which I'm the opposite, and I like the expanded universe more than any Skywalker or Solo. Like, I want to know about Five or Rex going into the trenches with, Ahsoka, and then how Rex fought back Order 66. And he was like one of the few clones that actually fight that and took the chip out of his own brain. I'm like, that's cooler than episode 4 to me.
Yeah.
But he didn't like that. And then but talking to the defensive part about him, he was like, we were talking about how I like the expanded universe more. He was like, and I was talking about how like my knowledge on it. He's like, well, you don't know more than blah blah blah. I'm like, well, I do know more than. He said, you don't know more than Zach. He's like, well, yeah, I do know more than Zach. I'm like, Zach knows more Star Trek. I know Star Wars, and he goes, well, you
Dude,
definitely don't
Zach
know
knows
more.
more about like Star Trek than I think some people who worked on Star Trek.
Yeah, and he goes, well, you definitely don't know more than Dane. And I go, no, I do. And he goes, no, you're stupid. I'm like, no, no, no. Dane knows more legacy. I know more canon. And he goes,
Mm-hmm.
well, canon doesn't matter. I'm like, well, canon is the thing that is canon.
I think that's really one of the reasons why I think Rogue One's so awesome though, is the fact that I know all this stuff about like the legacy, the EU, the stuff that they threw out when they made episode 7,
Mm-hmm.
and like Rogue One was part of that already. And they went
Yeah,
back and they were like, you know what should like deserves to still be canon? This story, this idea.
yeah.
So I'm super happy about that.
And they even got characters from like the video games,
Yeah.
like and the ships and all that from like other legacy things. That's why I liked it so much because it brought it into the fold, and I rather hear any storyline other than Luke Skywalker whining about he just wants to leave Tatooine. That's just me.
But he has to go to Tashi Station to pick up power converters.
I just hate him. I just hate him.
I do have to say that Luke Skywalker is probably my least favorite Mark Hamill character.
Oh yeah, Mark Hamill.
Like, ever.
I'll take Mark Hamill Joker every single day of the week.
Oh, dude, can you imagine if he decided to go that route for, like, Luke Skywalker?
That would be kind of epic. I would not mind.
Like,
Hey, that's a good
you're
way they could get.
psychotic!
That's a good way to get Carrie Fisher out of the story.
Oh, come on. You're gonna tell me you hate on her too?
No, just because she died, and I definitely don't think they should do the CGI character for General Organa right now.
I mean, they did say that they completed all of her filming already, though,
For episode 8,
before she died. Yeah. At
but not
which point,
episode 9,
episode 9, they can just kill her off or something.
which it's actually very hard to do if you. I don't know. She's General Organa of the rebellion. I don't know. I feel like it's you can't just be like, oh, that ship over there exploded and General Organa was on it. That's to me. I don't think you can do that.
Well, we will see. I mean, again, they could set up all sorts of things in episode 8. Um, that who knows? Who knows? Maybe part of episode 8 was her dying.
No, because I'm pretty sure she was contracted for all 3 movies.
I don't know. I never really look into that kind of stuff. I'm more of the mind that I want to be surprised. Because once you do see that they're like contracted for all the movies, then you're like, oh well, can't die or can't not be in there. Oh god, they're expected to make a cameo of some kind. The
Oh yeah,
very
they
least.
get Force Ghost.
For those of you listening, John just made like the wimpiest shrug in the world to that. Like, yeah, totally that.
Uh,
Okay, I'm thinking that we should probably call it off around
Yeah.
now.
all
At
right,
that
when the time hits 47:10, hit stop.
All right.
And
So
goodbye.
8. Goodbye.